I hope I'm audible. Uh, Actually, I was asked to speak to you people about the literature review. How to go about reviewing the literature available, which are accessible to you and which are relevant for the research activities, and how to go about and how to record, analyze them, record them, and address their reviews in the respective research studies as such. But well before that, I think I need to drag your attention towards as to basically we classify all the research activities into two categories. One is the natural science and the other one is social science. The natural science research activities, as you are all well aware of, that they are restricted generally to laboratories and laboratory experiments, and they might take several such months and years to conduct such research activities, and they come out with some inventions which imply that something which is not existing. But as against this, if you speak of social science research activities, they are quite different, because as a four walls laboratory is a laboratory for a natural scientist, the whole society in which we make a living is a laboratory for a social scientist. So that's why for a social scientist, the topic upon which he wants to make a study or he wants to conduct a research is quite open in the open field, in the very society itself. It's directly or indirectly related to the social problems alone. So all the social science research activities come out with innovations, because you will not be finding out something which is not existing. Something which is already existing, you want to modify it, or you want to prove it, or you want to nullify it. So that's why all sorts of modifications will be done through innovative research activities. And basically we are all social scientists. We try to find out such answers for such questions which are already existing, and such activities which are already existing, we try to find out a solution, a better solution for the existing problem. And all the research activities which have already been conducted by some other researchers would have been documented, and such research activities are to be evaluated by us before taking up the new set of research. Let me start with basically raising three important questions. What we will cover in this today's lecture would be, like, with the three questions which I would be raising, we'll try to answer all these three questions in the later part of the lecture. Number one is, what is the purpose or aim of literature review? Secondly, what is the systematic review of literature? Now, how do you go about very systematically conducting the review of literature as such? Thirdly, how to do systematic review of literature? Let me start with the first question. So what actually the first question anticipates from us in the form of an answer. What is the purpose of the literature review? Why do you want to conduct a literature review? Number one, increasing your breadth of knowledge of your subject area. True that you would have chosen a particular topic of your choice in a particular area with which you are very well versed, a domain in which you are very familiar, to take up a micro or a macro study as such, but still the breadth of the knowledge can be increased only when you find out number of such studies which have already been conducted by other researchers. Secondly, identifying patterns and trends in the literature. So how all this particular study started, and how did this particular researchers have been following through, and how they have conducted such research activities. What's the pattern of study? What's the trend in the literature? Whether the trend is showing that there are a number of such research activities which are adding something to the existing knowledge as such. Thirdly, identifying gaps in the literature and seek new lines of inquiry, because basically whatever the research activities which we are very newly taking up should not be a duplicate of work. It should not duplicate or whatever is already been carried out should not be once again carried out by the researcher. So that's why we need to find out the gaps. How do you find out the gaps? It's only possible when you find out available, accessible, relevant research literature. Then only you would be in a position to inquire into the new line of research which you can pursue. Fourth one, identifying similarities and differences in previous research and place your work in perspective. True that you have to find out what are all the things which are already existing. When once you review the literature available, you will come to know whether I am on the same line or I am focusing on that particular research from a different perspective is to be analyzed. And this is possible when you conduct the analysis of, first of all you will have to pull it, and once you need to go through that original works to find out whether the perspective with which you are working is similar or different. Fifth one, providing intellectual context for your own work. So you will have to give a justification that why I did take up this particular study as such. So what intellectual input you are putting in to your study will have to be exhibited, and that is only possible when you do a proper review of available literature, which enables you to project your work in a relative manner, because you are not doing something which is not at all existing, you are not duplicating the work which is already existing, and then if such is the thing, then you will have to justify that yes, I am doing a work which is from this particular angle as such. Sixth one, identifying experts working in your field. That is, a research network is valuable resource. First you need to find out who are all the experts who are working in your field, because so many research works would have already been carried out by the researchers. First make a list of such experts. They would have done so many original works, recorded them. So first make a list of such researchers, identify such experts, and then go through in detail what has already been carried out. Seventh one, carrying on from where others have already reached, because they would have reached a particular point, because it's not possible for a researcher to look into the problem from all the angles. Some researchers might have already gone through in detail a particular problem which was probed earlier, and the angle with which or the dimension with which they have made a study will have to be understood by you, and you will have to reach such a situation that you would start from that particular point. Otherwise there would be a lot of gaps. First you need to find out the gaps there, and then you have to look into what best I can do. Seventh one, carrying on from where others have already reached. This is done. Then eighth one, demonstrating and clarifying your understanding of your field of research. First you will have to exhibit. Once you are in a position to do a complete probe into the existing literature, obviously you can demonstrate or exhibit and clarify the angle with which or the dimension with which you want to make a study in that particular field of research. Then only it is possible. Otherwise the dimension with which you are making a study can never be exhibited as such. So that's why you will have to focus on the earlier literature and find out the experts, then pool them in such an order and probe into them in a very systematic manner, with which you can have a clarity with the study which you are taking up. Linking up your literature review. What for? Generally you look into how the research work is carried on. So the initial research question is in front of you. You will be making a literature review, for which you will be collecting data, then you will be analyzing the data, then you will be writing up the whole research work which you have carried out. All these would linked up in such a manner that until you find out the earlier research activities which are carried out can never be exhibited through your work which you are doing. So that's why you focus upon the earlier literature, accessible literature, then conduct a depth study of it, and then raise such certain questions with which you can clarify what is done and what not done, and you will have to do what you are expected to do can only be answered through your depth study. Then the second issue which I want to touch upon is what is systematic literature review as such. So systematic literature review, which I call SLR, identifies, selects and critically appraises research in order to answer a clearly formulated question. So you would have raised some research questions. Such research questions should be needed to be addressed, and this is only possible through systematic literature review. It is followed by a clearly defined protocol or plan where the criteria is clearly stated before the review is conducted. With what criteria I am starting my study should be clear. Otherwise, say for example, in your field of research, there might be umpteen number of research activities which have already been carried out. Whether all such research activities are relevant to you, you will have to find out the relevancy, and you will have to set a time lag between that. So when should I be, like, should I collect data of 1 decade, half a decade or 2 decades? You will have to see, because thousands of lakhs of such research activities or research documents may be made available to you, but all of them may not be relevant for your study. Make sure. So you will have to answer such questions which you have formulated at the beginning. So comprehensive, transparent search conducted over multiple databases and grey literature that can be replicated and reproduced by other researchers too, because they too would have conducted research activity maybe based on the earlier research activities which other researchers would have conducted. So you will have to find out which are the area or grey literature which are available, and you will have to be very comprehensive, transparent in searching. You will have to state that this is the lot of such materials are available in the open access, but are they relevant for you should be made sure, because they can replicate, reproduced by other researchers for their purpose. So once again, reproducing the same may not be of any use to you. So whether they are required, in what way they are required, to what extent I have to make use of it, will have to be made sure at this stage. The search terms, search strategies, including database names, platforms, dates of search, all these things are to be exhibited, and limits all need to be included in the review, because you will have to state the database, the names of the researchers who have conducted earlier studies, the platforms from which you have collected the data, the dates in a chronological order will have to be placed, and you will have to state explicitly in your research what are all the things which you have referred to. Some key principles are there. 7 key principles behind systematic literature reviews are: one is transparency. You will have to be very transparent. Leave alone if a paragraph is drawn from somebody else's research work, explicitly state that A, B, C are the researchers who have conducted this particular study. Nothing will go wrong, but you will have to be very transparent in having been used a particular literature. You should never be hiding something there. It should be clear, clarity should be there, because whatever the researcher has done from their angle might be useful for them, but is it useful for you? Be clear, otherwise don't use such data at all. Integration. So you will have to relate the topic which you have taken, the research activity which you have taken, to the earlier research activities. Here comes the question of relevancy. Are you dependent on such research findings or research activities which are relevant to your research? Find out that first. Focus on. There might be several dimensions with which the studies might have conducted, but be focused. A particular dimension with which you have intended to make a study should be very clear. You have to be very focused. Equality. There should not be an imbalance between whatever you are studying and whatever the research activities which have already been studied. There should be some equality, and this principle should be adhered to. Accessibility. If at all some other researcher wants to study what the original work which you have mentioned in your research in detail, it should be accessible. You should not limit their accessibility in your study. When you are transparent, I am sure that accessibility automatically comes. And the coverage should also be very specifically mentioned in your research. Otherwise, only a partial reference to the work may not give the full coverage. If at all you are referring to a particular work which has already been carried out, be specific there and be frank enough to tell that this is the amount of research work which was carried out by so and so, some other researcher. I have been making use of it. Then how to do systematic review is the next question. There are certain key stages in conducting systematic review. One is scoping, second one is planning, third one is identification, that is searching, how to search the data, and then fourth one is screening, and fifth one is eligibility. Let me start from the very first point, that is scoping. Under scoping, I have identified number one as formulate one or more research questions. Without formulating a research question, finding out the suitable and relevant data for making a review is of no use at all. So first you formulate one or more research questions. Number one, what do you want to know and about what topics? Relevancy. So if you are sure that this is the research question which I have laid down, definitely you would be in a position to know which are all the topics I have to touch upon in the literature available. Secondly, who will be your audience? Whom you are referring to whom you are conducting research, for whose use you are conducting this research will have to be made sure. Third, do you have a clear idea of the type of research finding that will be relevant to addressing your research questions? So say for example, I remember one of my research scholars had brought 20,000 literature soft copies, and when we were working out the models to be framed for higher education, management of higher education, so the models were about to be developed, and I expected my research scholar to go and collect data relevant from the viewpoint of stakeholders, some relevant literatures which are available, giving a particular specified year. So 10 years data you will have to collect. I was surprised that 20,000 such research soft copies were collected, and we were confused as to there were so many global studies, there were international studies, there were national studies, and it became little difficult for us to classify and come down to a particular situation where these are the referable relevant research reviews which are to be taken up. So that's why I'm stressing upon to tell you that make sure they are relevant to address specifically the research questions which you have set. Otherwise, erratic collection and probably unwieldy collection which may not be of any use to you will eat away the important time of your research. So don't waste your time in just pulling on such information which are irrelevant to your research studies. Secondly, thoroughly clarify whether the planned systematic review has already been done. Some example rationales for conducting an updated rather than an original systematic review might be, say 1, it has been 10 years since the last systematic review on this topic and the literature has rapidly expanded since the last review. So it's such an old data that nobody has touched upon from the last 10 years. It's of no use. So make sure that it has some relevancy. Secondly, the last review was methodically flawed in various ways. For example, it was not systematic at all. It was not done very systematically. So somebody might have told that this work is not relevant and this work was flawed down because a particular methodology was not properly being carried out, don't make use of such literatures. Thirdly, the last review focused on, but you think it's worth focusing on, say, one work which is say X work, but you think that it's worth focusing on Y. They would have focused on a particular issue, but that issue is not directly relevant to you, but indirectly it helps you, but you want to focus on the next issue, that is Y. Y is the work which you want to carry out for particular theoretical or empirical reasons. Then shift on your focus. Don't think that it is possible which has already been done by some other researchers, so that's why I need to focus on that particular thing alone. There is no need. You can relate to your research questions and find out the relevancy of a particular literature which is available. Second one is planning. Break your research questions down to individual concepts to create search terms. You will have to break your research questions, because normally a research study will have 4 to 5 research questions. Maybe it may range up to 10, but still 4 to 5 moderate research number is 4 to 5 research questions would have been raised. But that research question itself is all pervasive. It will consist of so many individual concepts and so many items and terminologies which it needs to be sought after. That is, you will have to seek some answers to such concepts and broken questions out of the main questions which you have used. So that's why focus on it. Using alternative terms and concepts, maybe you would be using some synonyms or different spellings, broader down it or narrow down it. So such terminologies should be used which signifies the earlier research works. So balance between search sensitivity and specificity. So you will have to balance it. Otherwise, the research concepts which were available earlier, which you are repeating in your study, would not be of any use. So that's why you might be using some synonyms, some acronyms, some spellings, some broader terminologies you are free to make use of, which will be signifying or which will show the significance of the earlier research activities. Secondly, preliminary inclusion and exclusion criteria, and then review these in initial stages of literature searching and sifting process. Because criteria can concern research question, conceptualization, research design, time frame, data, etc. They mean a lot, because while formulating preliminary inclusion and exclusion criteria, you will have to be very careful, because with the research questions you would have conceptualized certain terminologies which are very relevant to your research work, and you would have developed a linkage to the research design which you would have developed for your study. Or if you have not developed a research design, definitely you will have to link it up with the research questions and the answers which you are tending to answer, and the time frame which you have kept. As I was telling, that whether it is half a decadal time frame or a 1 decade or maybe 50 years, half a century's data, or only 1 or 2 years time might have been kept. So make sure these before you address them. So thirdly, create clear record keeping systems and keep meticulous records by working systematically, because whatever you refer to will have to be recorded very properly, and this is only possible if you systematically place them in a chronological order. You can use any pattern for that, you are free to, but all such literature which you have referred to will have to be systematically kept, because whenever you want to revert back to such literature, they should be easily available to you, and once you want to refer back, they should always be available for next usage. So that's why it is very important to make a classification and record them very properly. Third is identification, searching. Under that, number 1, use your search terms of search at least 2 different relevant electronic databases to make sure that whatever you are searching is really relevant and they are truthful. Secondly, carefully inspect the search results. Such search results should give you the facts only. They are not false information. So be careful and inspect them very properly that these are the correct references which I am making, correct literatures which I am referring to. So make sure. Thirdly, conduct additional searches to ensure you have located all potentially relevant published and unpublished work. There might be several published works which are readily available. There might be several unpublished works which are made available, documented in libraries and all. So in the e-forum or otherwise also. So you have to refer such research activities. So proper searching is required. So that's why some additional searches are required to ensure yourself that you will be locating the potentially relevant activities, research activities. If they are not published also, they might be worth referring to. So make sure that you would be using OpenGray. Number 1 is OpenGray.u is a European database compiled by different national libraries in various European countries who submit any Gray literature they receive. You can refer that. Secondly, OpenDo.org, Directory of Open Access Repositories website, searches the open access repositories of thousands of universities all over the world, which you can refer to. Then WorldCat database for dissertations and theses. Then LDS is another website which is readily available to you. British Library for Development Studies. I have given here the link also. Whoever is interested can go through in detail what are all the literatures available in this field. So the structured skim reading of Gray material, how should you go about, is a question. Step number 1 is register the complete reference. You may not gain access to the material again. Otherwise, once referred, second time when you want to refer, you may not be having access to the complete information, because second time, third time when you refer, such areas may not be completely available. So first instance will hint you that you have to depend on completely the material available. Make sure that it is original work, record them very properly, otherwise you will lose a chance to. Step number 2 is note and identify the source. Completely make a note of it and identify the exact source with which you have drawn the material. Thirdly, study the title page. Note down the title, date of publication, institutions, etc. to locate the political, social and institutional context of the report. They would have reported, they were available in the e-forum or otherwise also. So make a complete note of all those things. You should not lose an opportunity to record it at the first instance. So step number 4, the executive summary. Many studies would have given an abstract form of their study, and many of them might not have given also. In such a case, you will have to develop an executive summary of such literatures which you have looked into. So good for restructuring policy discourses and debates on the issues you can debate upon. So you will have to develop an executive summary for it. Fifth one, skimming the substance. Differences between the body of the report and executive summary indicate area of controversy and negotiation. If it is debatable, you will have to. There might be several issues which are controversial. There might be some negotiations which can be made upon or debated upon. So you will have to refer all that in your literature review. Sixth one, survey the quantitative data. For all useful data, note the source, year, type of data and method of data aggregation. Seventh one, a review of bibliography. This may provide useful references or give an indication of the depth of the research. So I have observed certain research candidates who do their PhD work just give a list of such references which have already been made by some other researchers. Don't do that. You make a list of such bibliography, I would agree, but such bibliography should have a recourse to the original works which have already been carried out. You will have to have an access, otherwise don't put them in a list and say that these are the references which I have made, or don't put them in the bibliography as such. Eighth one, note taking. Make notes about the report itself, about any useful information, and of any points you think are important to verify or deepen further reading. If any other further reading is required, you can do that only when you note down, make a note of such things, make notes of such things which are available in the referred reports. Fourth one is screening. When once this is already done, the process is followed through for the purpose of collecting the available literature for your reference. You will have to screen. Under screening, number one, export references to citation manager to collate the search results. So for example, EndNote, refer works. This is possible only when proper screening is done. The screening should be done keeping in mind the references or the citations, or when you transfer or export all references to citation manager, and this is only possible to find out good results of the collated data or the collated literature. Secondly, read the title or abstract of identified work, and or depending upon the number of literature which you are referring to. So under that, do they meet your inclusion or exclusion criteria? Would they help you to add up or exclusion criteria? Try to find it out. Secondly, focus on sensitivity, that is locating and sifting as many articles as possible, because once you finish off the literature review, probably getting back to that once again to the untouched literature may be very difficult for you, because you would have marched a little ahead in your research work. It becomes very difficult. So that's why you will have to make sure that locating and sifting as many articles as possible. Next one is record keeping. List of the number of rejected articles, short notes on the reasons for excluding such research studies which you have excluded. Why did you exclude it? Don't they have any relevance for your study? Give reasons for it. Keep them aside. When once you finish off your literature analysis, once again you will have to go through why didn't you include them in your research work or literature review, can be answered. Fifth one, eligibility. Sift the full text version of potentially eligible articles and extract relevant information to be included. Under that, I would say that number one is focus shifts from sensitivity to specificity, because such works which you feel that they are very relevant for you, you would have focused on it. So now you think in terms of focusing on only such issues which are very sensitive for your research work, and very specifically make a mention of such research activities which are documented. Secondly, focus on definition or conceptualization, measures or key variables, research design, participants, respondents, year of publication, data or results, study design, setting, etc. Such things which are already been done through in the area will have to be focused. Thirdly, record keeping, that is notes on inclusion and exclusion, reasons, quality of the work will have to be specified, because such research works which you include in your research area to make a mention about will have to have a strong base. If such works which are not very strong enough to refer to, don't include it. So keep them in exclusion area and give a reason as to no, it's not worth referring to. So this is the reason why I have excluded them. Some general points about how to present a narrative review. Number one, present each study in a way that makes its relation to the themes clear and explicit. So whatever review which you have made should be presented in such a way that it will have to have a relation to the theme which you have taken up, the research theme which you have taken up, and it should be very clear, and you will have to explicitly state that this reason, with this reason alone, I have referred this particular literature. Secondly, show how strong and how weak the overall evidences for each main point is, because you have used an inclusion and exclusion strategy earlier. So why did you include such relevant literature? Why you have excluded such irrelevant literature now makes sense, because you will have to state that these are the strong points with which I have included these material, and these are the weak points with which I have excluded these research materials. Thirdly, describe findings in the context of providing something new to the literature, because literature is already available. Some researchers would have already done substantial work in the field and they have documented it, but describe their findings in the context of providing something new to the literature. By and large, researchers might be knowing that at the end of their research work they would hint the other researchers in the form of paves ways to further research as such. The doors are open for such other research activities as such. So with which you have to develop a linkage to the existing work, so that you will be defining very properly the findings of the earlier research activities in the context of providing something which is not existing, which you will do with your research, relating it to the earlier literature available. And next one is structure the review into subsections with a coherent story and flow throughout, because say for example you will refer a particular research literature at the beginning of your review, and the portion of that particular research activity is referred to at the end of the literature review. There is no connectivity between the parts of the literature which you have referred to. There should be a sequential record of such literature which you have referred to. We say that it should be a story like. It should have a flow. It should have some sequential order. So you will start from a particular literature which is available at the start of the last decade, and there should be a chronology maintained, and there should be a story like presentation linking each literature to the next literature which you have drawn, because I am specifying here because you would have included only such relevant research studies. So that's why, if irrelevant, you would have excluded it. So that's why you can relate the available literature analysis in a story like forum. There should be a flow throughout the presentation until you conclude on the literature which you have reviewed. And next one is provide a balanced coverage and critique of all aspects of the literature, ideally spending some time searching for evidence that would seem to contradict the main conclusions and patterns. What I meant to tell you here is, so you will have to balance between the coverage and the critique. It doesn't mean that all the literatures which are available are all the literatures which are available are not at all relevant to your study. They would have some relevance, and you need not have to endorse whatever the researchers have told in their study. They would have done it from the angle of their study. So that's why you can criticize it also. Think from the viewpoint of a critic and say that this is not done, this should have been done, and what should be done is to be exhibited in your work. So be a critic of all the activities which are already carried out, or all the literature which you refer to, and ideally try to do that such evidences prove that you are whatever you are contradicting in the form of the earlier research activities, they are done very properly. That is, the contradiction which you pose is to be strengthened, that why you are contradicting that has to be explicitly told. Otherwise you will not be giving any justification. So that's why while concluding and whatever they have done, you will have to state that these are the evidences with which I can say that this is criticized. So you can be a critic of the earlier activities or the literatures, but you will have to be authentic. You will have to authenticate why you are criticizing such activities as such. And the next one is cite a study's conclusion while also describing the method and specific results to provide a context. So you will have to justify that why I am using this particular method and the specific results which I can provide with the citations which I have made all through. All the literature which I have cited are concluding in this forum. So I want to describe the method which I follow through and the specific results which I am aiming at, which are contextual in nature, will be done through this. So you will have to specify it very properly. So when once the literature is done, that is literature review is done, the reviews, as I told you earlier, that all the reviews which you have made, which are presented in a sequential manner, in a chronological order, giving proper references to all the literature which you have drawn, very properly, if they are done very systematically, they are done, then it is possible for you to find out the research gaps, because the focus upon which you are working with your new research work is quite different from the focus with which the earlier researchers would have done their research. So that's why you can find out the vacuum, you can find out the research gaps there. So when once you are finding a research gap, that research gap is to be properly plugged, and this research gap plugging is done through the research work which you carry on. So because there is a wide gap, research gap, between the work which you want to carry out and the earlier research works which have already been carried out, to plug this research gap, you have to justify what work you are carrying on, and this is only possible when you concretize some specific objectives of your study. So all such objectives will have to be linked to the research questions which you have raised and the research gaps which you have found out, and specifically, explicitly, what you want to accomplish through your research work will have to be exhibited through the objectives which you laid down in your research work, because it all happens in such a manner that once you are done with the literature review, you find it very difficult to relate to your objectives which you want to lay down or which you laid down already, because that with an intention to draw the literature which are available, which are relevant to your study, with an ambition to do that, probably you may err at any point of time. You may commit certain mistakes at that point of time. It might happen, and to avoid that, you will have to justify your literature which you have referred to and specifically state that these are relevant for my study, and then only you will have to make sure that these are referable research activities which are already existing. Otherwise, data pooling, data collection, probably data collection and analysis this particular topic would be covered by some other resource person, but with an ambition of collecting the literature, you should not err at that particular point of time. So that's why the reviewing of literature which are very relevant and which are useful for you, which should be accessible to others also, and if you are making a reference to all such literature available in your research work, somebody else wants to probe into that particular literature, explicitly you will have to state from where this particular literature has been drawn, then only it is possible for justifying what literature you have done and very properly exhibiting the literature review in a proper manner. So I think I have done some justice with regard to presentation of this literature review. I thank all the organizers for having given me an opportunity to speak about. Thank you.